Hello everyone, it is AD with Kosmostrology and I'm going to be doing your pick a card reading. So of course, continuing on with our theme this week of past lives, we are going to be looking into your past life karma specifically. So thank you to everyone who participated in the polls. If you look at the polls now, it's different, but I stopped the count on Monday. So if you vote after Monday, then they don't count. So this was actually the second video that won. And of course, I will be completing that 18 plus reading. So be on the lookout for that, guys. Hit that notification bell button if you want to know up front. But yeah, let's just get straight into it. I just wanted to look into your past life karmas. So we're going to be looking at your past life childhood, your past life adulthood, then kind of see how that resulted. And then we're finally going to give you advice to kind of pay off those karmas. So hopefully you'll be able to see some parallels in this lifetime from your past lifetime that'll be able to help kind of form the bigger picture of where you are, where you come from, guys. I do have a Who Was I in My Past Life reading. That is on my channel. So if you have not seen that, I highly recommend that you start there and then kind of fill in the blank. Like I said, in the other readings, you can stick with the number that you pick for that reading, or you can switch it up. You know, it is what it is. I hope that this helps in any way possible. So this is pile 1, this is pile 2, and this is pile 3. So I am going to go ahead and meet you over at your piles, guys. But thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, then you can do that in the description box below. And please don't forget to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I have so much fun over there, and I've been able to meet so many of you wonderful peoples. And so yeah, if that interests you, then please go ahead and hippity hop over there and follow me down under. Okay, so let's go ahead and step into what pile number 1 here. All right, pile 1. Hello, everyone. It is AD with Kosmostrology, and I'm going to be doing your pick a card reading. So this is for your past life karma. We're going to be starting off with your childhood, then moving into the past life of your adulthood. Hopefully, you'll see some parallels, and then we'll look at the overall karma that you racked up for yourself and how you can start to kind of pay that off. Now, let's define karma before we even get into this reading. Karma is your soul's journey, right? And so you can see, I believe in multiple lifetimes, guys. Hopefully, if you're here, you believe in multiple lifetimes. So in different lifetimes, our soul is the same, but our experience is different. And through those different experiences, we end up wanting to experience and explore new things or go back and revisit old things. So that is what karma is to me. These are areas of focus in which you came into this life that you want to explore, because in past lives, either you weren't able to explore them to the full extent that you wanted to, or you really want to improve upon the skills that you already had. So this isn't like you were bad at this and this is why it's shitty for you in this life. Okay, it's a little bit deeper than that. A smidge. But yeah, so I did start with the card already. Here, pile 1. So let's just hop straight into it. So again, we're going to be looking at your childhood, your adulthood, your overall karmic lessons, and then your overall advice, on how to overcome those karmas, or just show, specific things that you should focus on and pay attention to. So this is my first time doing a reading like this, so I hope that it goes over well. We don't know what's gonna happen, and like I said, if you're new to this channel, I do have a Who Was I in a Past Life reading that I highly recommend that you watch before this, so maybe you can get some context. But yeah, we're just looking at this karma that you're working out for this lifetime. All right, so the first card that we have out, wow, is the 2 of Cups. So that's a really interesting start. So we're gonna hang that out right there. Maybe it'll come up later. But I definitely feel like this has to deal with partnership, companionship, understanding of other people, friendships, and relationships. So let's look into your childhood in your past life to give us context for your adulthood to see how you got the karma that you got. So you'll have to let me know if this resonates, if it's kind of similar to what you feel in this current lifetime, or if it's totally different, right? So we're starting here with the King of Pentacles. The 7 of Cups, so you could have earth in your chart or water at this point. We'll look into if any signs come out, but the 6 of Pentacles. So your childhood in a past life. Your childhood, the King of Cups. So definitely the masculine or a masculine energy played a huge role in your development, in your childhood. The Sun card, particularly your father, was a huge influence. And this is the Sun and Moon Tarot if you are in fact interested. So the Universe, the Hierophant, of course, I'm sticking that right over there. The Tower card. And then we have the Three of Wands. Okay, so, and the Ten of Pentacles here at the bottom of the deck. So for your childhood, you were certainly abundant. I really do imagine a very overall happy childhood, very structured. I do imagine that you spent a lot of time out in the sun. You spent a lot of time in nature, and you were very close to the masculine energy in your life. With the Hierophant, the Sun card, I do imagine that you were very well taken care of in your past life. So, you were, in this childhood in your past life. And so you were able to travel and see the world. You were able to do different things. Now, what happened? The Tower card, something happened to that original foundation. And if I remember pile 1 correctly for the Who Was I in a Past Life, we know what that is alluding to. If you don't know what I'm alluding to, then you really have to get it. So hopefully you chose pile 1 because there definitely was an ending, a catastrophic ending or blow that caused you to have to travel and move, all right, and find kind of your home elsewhere. But overall, I do get that your childhood in this past life, which you racked up this karma, was very, very plentiful. You were probably really, really happy. There were friends, probably had siblings. But again, you spent a lot of time in nature. You spent a lot of time in the world. I do think that you had a very spiritual structure foundation. I imagine that there was some rituals. There was a lot of rituals to your upbringing, and you were very comfortable in that. And I think that it worked with the Sun card. So I do imagine that you had a very happy childhood in this karmatic, in this karma dance that you're doing. So maybe you've had an overall pretty good childhood. That might not resonate with everyone, but I would imagine that in this life it was very structured. So I'm sure that your karma came in as you got older, right, in the adulthood. But for childhood, I am really getting that, there was a lot of there was unexpected movement that happened from different times, especially with this Tower card to the Universe. So I do imagine at some point in childhood you ended up in an unexpected place, or you ended up moving. So maybe you've moved in this life, or you stayed really stagnant. You know what I'm saying? It just depends how that karma relates to you, because some of you were always on the move as a child, and others of you were. And so you were always on the move in this child, and so you chose to be extremely stable in this lifetime. So that might resonate with all of you. That might resonate with some of you, not all, But I do imagine that there was really this dreamer attitude in your past life too, that might carry with the King of Cups, the Seven of Cups energy. So there was always this like fantasy world. There was this fantasy, but I do feel like that fantasy at some point got shattered. So I'm very curious to move into the adult energies. So let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing through it. All right. Wow, that's crazy. So in your adulthood, we have the Magician, the Wheel of Fortune, the Five of Wands. Okay, the Princess of Cups. Wow, the Star going right over the Sun card. So your adulthood, the Princess of Pentacles here with the Five of Wands. I do imagine that as comfortable as you were as a child, there could have been some sort of instability with the Five of Wands to the Princess of Pentacles here. But you were able to truly overcome things. The Six of Swords, again, just reiterating that as an adult, you definitely did not stay in the same place that you were in as a child. You did not stay in your childhood place. The Nine of Cups, the Judgment card, and the Eight of Pentacles here. So really super beautiful energies for your adulthood. You are a very powerful manifester. I do imagine that you're an extremely spiritual person. And again, it has to deal with the foundation that you were granted, pile 1, that really helped you overcome any type of adversities. I do imagine that in your adulthood and your past life, you were very lucky, very fortunate. So maybe you have possible Jupiter placements, Aquarius placements, or 11th house placements, 9th house placements. So I'm just imagining that like things work out. Things worked out for you in your past life. Even again, when you had adversities, you were always able to come out on top. I do think that you were a hard worker, and you just saw the power in tending to the land and tending to those around you. Again, with this Pentacle energy. Still room for dreaming. Still room for dreaming. With the Princess of Cups here, and the Magician. But I do imagine that you spent a lot of time on the go. You spent a lot of time traveling. And so maybe your soul yearns to travel. But I will say in your adulthood, with the Magician, the Five of Wands, Six of Swords, to the Judgment card here, and to the Eight of Pentacles, I do feel like you either had to travel a lot for work or you constantly had to relocate. Like it was a very nomadic lifestyle because of conflict. So you could have been fleeing from conflicts in a past life quite frequently. But at the same time, you had this great inner knowing that things were going to work out. I do imagine that even in your adulthood, you were still very childlike with the Princess of Cups and the Princess of Pentacles. So perhaps Gemini energy coming through. Excuse me, but you never, I just heard that like Neverland, like you never really wanted to grow up. So maybe you even in this life never really wanted to grow. You don't really want to grow up. I don't see a whole bunch of like responsibilities that came in for you as an adult, especially with this Nine of Cups. It does seem like you just kind of lived by the spur of the moment and did what you had to do. But again, I do feel like you did have to flee situations a lot with the Five of Wands, the Magician here, but you always landed on your feet. So that's kind of a short glimpse into your adulthood. So now let's look at karma. So what karma did this lead to? Right. Two of Pentacles and the Five of Swords. So I really feel like because, how do I word it? Because your childhood was so stable, literally until it wasn't. I just feel like there's this fear of stability. Like you constantly want to move around the Two of Pentacles, the Five of Swords. It's something about change. Either you're constantly chasing change or you're chasing change, or you're constantly in this space of where you have to be secure. So some of you will fall into each categories, but one of you is always longing for something different because you're like, shoot, if I settle here, I don't know how long I'll be able to be here. So let me keep moving around. And then others of you are like, I need to hold on to what I have because I don't know how long it's going to be here. So I am picking up on a lot of Taurus energy for some of you, the Nine of Swords. So they're really, this karma that you're coming to focus on here is really just change. Change affects you on a deep soul level. It's something that can make you very, very uncomfortable, or you're very, very flighty. You don't want to commit to anything because you know that everything is temporary. You know that on a soul level that everything is temporary. Don't get comfortable. That's what I just heard. Like there is this energy in you, for some of you, for that half that this resonates, that is just like, do not get comfortable, because the moment that you get comfortable, the moment that you feel good and settle into something, it's going to change. So don't get comfortable. So I feel like a lot of you have this super restless energy, that forces you to kind of to either stay put for somewhere, but you're always longing for something else. You're always longing to be elsewhere, or you don't leave what you have. Like very, very strong Taurus energy. And Scorpio too. Excuse me, how could I forget Scorpio? Where you just are fixated on staying comfortable with the Nine of Wands. The Strength card. So just another fixed energy coming in. But yeah, your biggest karma is just your relationship with change. The Two of Swords again, and the Ten of Wands. So yeah, this is just reiterating the Eight of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, it depends. I do feel like there's two separate categories in this. And we have, what did I mention? Jupiter and then Virgo, the Temperance. So these are opposite energies. We got Jupiter here and Mercury represented. So perhaps you could have your Jupiter in a Mercury sign. So Jupiter in Virgo, Jupiter in Gemini, something like that. So doesn't have to be, guys. But anyways, there's just a lot of choices that come in for you because you understand, because in past lives, you were forced to move. You were forced to travel. You were forced to stay uncomfortable. You were forced to not have to not be able to hold on to anything and to hang anything. So you brought that same energy into this current life to where you feel like, some of you feel like you can't hold on to anything because you don't want to get too comfortable. And others, you feel like you have to hold on to everything because you don't want it to go anywhere. So this spirit is asking you, and this is definitely, what is it? People say PTSD. This is PL. This is PL. What is it? Past life trauma. PLT. PLT. This is past life trauma, guys. So you're gonna have to work on when to stay and when to go. When you face certain adversities, you're really gonna have to tune and be like, am I running because I'm scared that this will actually work out and I need to run? Or am I staying in this space of security because I'm scared that I'll have to redo it again? You see what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I hope that I'm not confusing. I hope that this makes sense. Because I do feel like you're either one of two scenarios. But there is something here about being forced to like leave whatever you've built in the past, and that really, freaks with you. And so let's see, is there anything else? Like, what is the advice that Spirit has for overcoming kind of this karma? The Three of Swords. I really feel like it's a mixture of, yeah, ready for this pep talk, Part 1? Are you tuned in? Listen, I'll use the words of Buddha. Life is suffering. Things end. It doesn't matter how much you fixated on it staying the same, it's going to change. Disappointments are a part of life. Shiz ends, okay? Shit ends. It happens. And you have to adapt. And so I do feel like in one way or another, like if you really find that you love something and you're typically a runner, then you need to invest in it, even if it does, even if it doesn't work out in the long run. How do I word it? It's just like if you were in this nomadic energy, right, in your past lives, you're in this nomadic energy. If you had to live in Costa Rica or whatever Costa Rica was at the time for a period of time, then you made that house your home. You made that house your home. You invested in it. You didn't live like, oh man, I'm going to have to uproot in a second. You enjoyed it. And then when the moment came for you to uproot, you did. And so I do imagine that you need to focus on creating the homes where you are. You need to focus on investing that energy. Yes, it's going to end. That's a part of life. It feels like, Spirit is picking on you. It feels like you feel like Spirit is picking on you, that things end. But that's just a part of life. And so I do imagine that in order for you to move through this karma, you just have to invest what you're going to invest in and don't worry about the outcome. Do not tie yourself to the outcome. Woo! I am speaking to some Scorpio energy, and I'm speaking to Taurus specifically, or 8th house and second house people for sure. You have to learn that everything is temporary in this life, and opportunities are going to come and opportunities are going to go. You're in a stable environment. You're in a stable space to create what you want. Like, I just get this energy of a leash. You feel like, and then others of you feel like, you've been on this very tight leash and you haven't been able to explore. You haven't been able to do anything, but it's because that was your karmic duty. Like, if you were always on the run, then you came into this lifetime and you probably didn't move or travel a lot at all when you were younger because you did it so much in your past lifetime. So it just depends on what spectrum you're on. But I do feel like there's this wanderlust regardless of what spectrum you fall on. But there's a fear of exploring that because you're afraid of the outcome of it ultimately ending. But it ends. Everything ends. Nothing is for certain. And you are granted with a lot of choices and options. So we got the Four of Pentacles here, right, to the Princess of Wands. The Four of Pentacles is about, ooh, something just fell. But the Four of Pentacles, look at how he's sitting and very comfortable with his 4 castles. He's not wanting to move. So some of you are needing to really break out of the situation that you found yourself in with the Princess of Wands, and really break out of yourself and really learn to explore the Four of Wands. There is like a homecoming. You will find home. That's also what I'm hearing. You will find home eventually in this lifetime once you accept that everything ends. Golly, the Hanged Man, right? So it's all about your perception is kind of what I'm getting, pile number one. It really is about your perception, the Ace of Wands here. The more that, and you have this superpower to reinvent yourself. So you will be able to travel. The moment that you step out of this Four of Pentacles energy, I do think that you'll be able to travel and explore, if that's something that you want to do. And home is where the heart is in the cheesiest way possible. Thank you, Miss Alexa, for backing me up. But home is where the heart is. And so I think once you figure out that, again, don't get fixated on the outcomes of things and just follow things through, whether you're that runner or that person who stays stagnant. Regardless, you have to explore. You have to take something as far as you can. Don't quit before it ends because you're afraid that it'll quit you, right? And don't even not leave your house because you're scared that it's going to be gone when you come back. You know, it's two extremes. But I really do get that that is your big karma. Anything else from Spirit that Spirit would like my pile one people to know? Death and rebirth, Scorpio energy. Like I said, you are the, I'm hearing that Fall Out Boy song. I'm gonna raise you like a phoenix. Like you rise from ashes all the time. It feels like you put in energy, the shiz get burned to the ground, you're upset, but you come back stronger and better every time. I think that you just have to accept, pile one, that that's a part of your soul's journey. And it's because Spirit wants you to learn how to really truly release the emperor. So I do feel like you will be able to conquer and rise with all of this. You will step into a really phenomenal masculine energy, whether you're male or female. And the Emperor is extremely stable. So it's like once you let things go that are no longer for you, then you will be able to be in the best position to build your empire. But you either got to step out of your comfort zone or you have to really commit to something. It depends on how it hit. Speaking of commitment, the Ten of Pentacles there. So you really have to allow something to grow. You gotta, you'll have to use your discernment, pile one. But you're either in the category of like where you really need to plant a seed, water it, nurture it, and let it grow. You have the freedom to let something grow. It's not going to be taken away from you, okay? Even if it is, you will recover. You always do. So feel free to invest. Please invest. I'm hearing, please invest. And for others of you, you need to let and release whatever it is that you're clinging on to. You need to let it go. It's no longer serving you anymore. Let it burn so you can rise up again and really step into this divine masculine energy. I feel like with this masculine energy, how you pay off this karma is by sitting in your power and not moving. You're not going to move. You're a force to be reckoned with. You're sitting in that power. You're sitting in that throne. And you're not letting anyone take that away from you is really what I'm hearing, pile one. So yeah, let me see if I can get any. I wasn't planning on getting oracles, but of course I'm being called to get some oracle cards. So let's just look at some that pop out. But that's overall what I'm getting for your karma. The clean it up. And I feel like it's clean up your act. That's really, I was like, that's violent. I don't mean that in the negative sense, but I really do think that prepare a space for something to grow. Prepare room for change. Prepare room for something to grow. You have to clean it up. If you have so much clutter in your mind and fear about how it's going to end up and you never start anything, well, then guess what? You've earned yourself another lifetime. You know, like, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you've earned yourself another lifetime with this specific karma again. You know what I'm saying? And so it's up to you on if that's what you really want to do. Not for you, the number 6. So some of you, Spirit is saying that you really need to move. And then look at this yin energy. That's so funny. So be putting yourself in a position to receive. Orphaned at the bottom of the deck. And I just get that is the overall energy that you felt. I feel like this is you in your past lifetime. Like I said, you started off great. Your childhood, phenomenal. Then something happened, and your adulthood, you kept it pushing, but it taught you to not get comfortable anywhere you are, or to stay exactly where you are in fear that you'll lose it, you know, later. So you got to really look at this past life trauma, okay? And you really got to see what scale you vibrate on, and you have to love and give to yourself. It doesn't come from the exterior, and it doesn't come from being so focused, you know, Taurus, and it doesn't come from being so focused on the interior and the truth of things, Scorpio, that there's no room for middle ground. Okay, you have to find the middle ground. You're not constantly going to be in survivor mode. Spirit is definitely saying that it's time for you to open yourself and receive. Some of you, this is a message directly, not all of you, but for some of you, for those people who are clinging because of this feeling, it's time for you to let it go. It's time for you to clean it up and open yourself up to receive something grander and better in the long run, okay? So that is really what I'm getting for you, Pile 1. As far as your karma, please let me know how this resonated, how this affects you in your life. Did this hit? You know what I'm saying? Please don't forget to drop a comment. Please hit that like button. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram. Book a personal reading with me if you like to look more into it. If you even like to look at your Vedic chart, which answer these questions when we talk about Rahu, Ketu. So if you're truly invested and trying to see where you've been to get to where you need to go to release some of this, please hit me up. And of course, I am bringing out the Cash App card, guys. If you are called to donate, guys, $1, $5, or just a prayer is absolutely beautiful to me. This is my Cash App, the $, capital A, capital B, lowercase EV224. PayPal, you can donate there if you want, if you want. That link is in the description box too. I so appreciate you guys. I appreciate everything that you do. And y'all keep being you, guys. Please let me know if this resonated. Thank you so much. Peace, guys. Until next time. All right. That was fun. I really enjoyed that. Okay. So now let's move into... Oh, of course, I know Pile 1 is gone. I know they're gone. But in case you're still here, that's why it was funny to see that 2 of Cups, because it is about relationships and fully investing into relationships, okay? So anyways, let's go. Hello, everyone. It's AD with Kosmostrology, and this is if you picked Pile 2 for your past life karma reading, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate every single one of you. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let's hop into the reading. So today we are looking at the past life karma that you've racked up. So first, let's define karma. What is karma? It's not like you did something bad, so this is why bad things are happening to you. It's much, much deeper than that. It's like your soul has a journey. Your soul is the same every time. The exterior and experiences are kind of what builds it up. So when we talk about karma, we're speaking about experiences in past lives that either you feel unfulfilled in, or that you want to perfect those skills, or that you want to revisit those patterns in this lifetime. So these are the soul contracts that you look on for things for you to look at and address in this lifetime that maybe you didn't feel like you had to in a past lifetime. So it's a little bit deeper than, oh, hey, you did this bad thing and now you have bad things happening to you. That's a very shallow way of looking at karma and quite misleading. So I just want to define karma real quick so we're on the same page, because I want it to be much deeper than this is what you were bad at in a past life, so this is why you suffer. No, we're taking it a step further. Okay, so let's go ahead. Oh yeah, so we're specifically looking at your childhood, your adulthood, the overall karmic lesson, and then your overall advice to overcome it, or what is some advice that you can use to overcome it. I'm so tongue-tied. Okay. All right. Let's look into it. So here we are starting with the 7 of Pentacles. So we'll see if this plays a role into the reading later. So we have that 7 of Pentacles. It's probably going to get covered up, but I do imagine that there might be something here about patience. Saturn is what I'm hearing, which is the planet of karma. So you might have your K2 in Capricorn, K2 in the 10th house here. And again, I'm speaking in Vedic astrology terms. So please keep that in mind if you are a Westerner. So let's look at your childhood. So what was your childhood like in this past life? Oh, yes, I did want to say, if you didn't get a chance to catch it, I do have a Who Was I in My Past Life reading. So I highly suggest that you check that reading out first before you watch this reading, so it'll kind of give you context. I'm briefly just going to be discussing your childhood, your adulthood, and how that kind of made you who you were in that past lifetime. But this isn't the super in-depth reading on that. I have one. Hopefully I'll be able to link it. I will link it in the comment section if you find this reading later. All right. The 2 of Pentacles. So we have the Emperor, right? The 2 of Pentacles here. I'm just saying, this deck confuses me sometimes with the reversals, but I don't read reversals. So even if it comes out reverse, I am going to read it upright. But sometimes I can't tell with the imagery. So we got the Strength card. So strong Leo energy and masculine energy. Oh my gosh, for sure. So let's look at your childhood. the Knave of Wands. Pile 2's childhood for the past life karma. And maybe you'll be able to find, you know, parallels and everything from this childhood to your next, right? Oh, and the Tower card. This is so funny. Tower card came out in pile 1, too. I'm hearing that you really grew up, the Knave of Swords, you grew up in a very influential family, pile 2. I really do think that you were probably some sort of royalty. Wow, the Queen of Pentacles here. Yeah, you inherited a lot. So your childhood with the Ten of Cups, I imagine, was, wow, it was very nice. You had a very good, you were definitely a daddy's girl in a past life, or a daddy's boy. You really did admire the masculine, and you studied a lot. You were very courageous as a kid. So I want to say that, yeah, in your past life, you were super fearless. You were the type to get into things. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of masculines picked this pile, just in general, but it doesn't matter. Either way, you were really a little rascal, but at the same time, you were very regal, and you had a lot of responsibilities at a young age. So perhaps you were like an oldest sibling, in a past life, and you had to be responsible for other people. But I just imagine that you had a lot of responsibility, but you wore it pretty well. Now, I do want to say, I do feel like in this past life, in your past life childhood, there was a change in mothers. So I'm wording that weird, but it could have been like your mother gave birth and your father held a lot of power, so he remarried. So maybe you weren't raised by your mother in your past lifetime. So that might resonate now, or it might not. But I do feel like there was a change in mothers in the childhood of your past life. But again, you had a lot of power. You were very adventurous. You got to do a lot of different things, but there was something sudden that happened with the Tower card. So we'll have to look into, let me look. Can I get a card to clarify this Tower moment? The Ace of Cups. So, the Judgment card. Wow. The Seven of Cups. There was something about your childhood that was very dreamy. So either it was kind of like a fairy tale of some sort, or like it was different than what you would imagine it to be, the Knight of Cups. But I just imagine that it was actually a very overall loving childhood with the Ace of Cups. There were things that happened. Yeah, the Queen of Cups. I really feel like the biggest thing that happened in your childhood, and from this past life, deals with your mother. I feel like your mother, your biological mother, did not raise you in this past life childhood. And so you were loved. So you had to find love in different spaces is kind of what I'm hearing as a child. And your father was extremely powerful, and perhaps he wasn't the most accommodating to your feelings, but he did the best that he could in this childhood. So let's move on to your adulthood, because I have a feeling that this will make more sense, and it'll really make sense with your overall karma. But right now I'm just picturing that there was like a change in mothers, like there was a change, there was a huge change. But for the most part, you were a relatively happy kid, and you really went on exploring. Like you were the type of kid to kind of wander off in this past life with the karma. So we got the Three of Cups for your adulthood. Where's your adulthood in the past life? The Hermit. The Hermit. Woo. The Four of Cups. So right now I'm really getting this energy of you were very isolated in your adulthood, and it could have been because you were extremely wealthy. Like I said, you had a lot of power. You inherited a lot of power from a youngin. So I could imagine that, yeah, you were temperance here. Whew, the Five of Pentacles. Whew. And this is funny because if you pick pile 2 in the Who Was I, I'm kind of picking up on those energies here. It kind of seems to be echoing the Lovers. So how was your adulthood? How was your adulthood? You were so guarded. You were so guarded in your past life against anyone. Yeah, the Knave of Pentacles. I feel like, okay, I'm seeing what happened. I'm getting a better idea. And then what is this? The Nine of Swords. All right, so your adulthood in your past life, and of course we're going to look at the karma that this racked up, but you made it a point to avoid the outside world. And I feel like it has to deal with you saw the masculine in your life be used by other feminines. Once your mother had passed away or whatever happened with that energy, you saw that people will use. So you were like the type to end up with like, you know, like very Cinderella vibes to me, where like you had like the wicked stepmother, you know, and you were just like, wow, some people are super cruel out here who are just trying to look for a bag, just trying to look for some money. So I do imagine that as adventurous as you were as a young child, you felt burned by the time you were older. So you really took some time to isolate yourself. And it had to deal with the finances and resources that you had inherited. But again, it would just be kind of like, you know, we have like Queen Elizabeth is a good example. Like, you know, how isolating is that lifestyle for her? Like, yes, you have the riches, but you know, how many people can say they're her friend, right? At the end of the day. So I just imagine you were very standoffish. You did not like people very much. I definitely understand that by the time you were older. You were very paranoid about people. So maybe this is something that follows you now. So we're going to look into the karma, of course. But I just feel like you definitely made a decision in this lifetime to really exile yourself. Like, but you were wealthy. You started wealthy. I can say that for sure, with the Five of Pentacles being in the middle. I'm not sure if you ended wealthy. And if you were, and if you stayed wealthy, then you kind of let it trap you. You didn't really get out too much. I'm definitely hearing recluse. We're very reclusive by the time it was all said and done. So maybe you feel yourself in that energy now. Let's see. How is this? What is the karma? What is the overall karmic lesson of this? The Two of Wands represented here. The Knight of Swords. What is the karmic lesson behind all of this? The King of Wands. The Eight of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles. It still hasn't. It's so funny because I feel like a lot of your karma does have to deal with like money and people and resources. I'm getting this energy here where like you were so giving in your past life and then people just took advantage of you, starting off with, you know, your dad. Like your dad was such a giving person, and then once he kind of passed too in your later years, you just saw like how mean and greedy people can be. So I do feel like you have a lot of your karma is very much tied to money. Oh, wow, that's so funny. The Devil, which is exactly what I was saying, and the Nine of Cups. So this is a little more complex than pile twos, which is pile ones, which is totally fine. The King of Swords, but I just need some more cards. What is the overall karmic lesson? The Justice card. You know, I was about to say the Seven of Wands. This lifetime, you are really not meant to be. I feel like, yes, that's what I'm getting. And here we have the Five of Cups. In your past life, you let... And when I say you let, I don't want to be like, you did this, right? I'm just saying the energies that were present. In your past life, you really let the world kind of get to you. I feel like you just shut out from the world. You were like, you know what? I'm just going to hide. Like, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to get to know people. Like, money's not worth it. This life is hell. Like, people are users. People are so shallow. I'm deeper than that. So this lifetime, you're meant to continue to fight with this Justice card and this this King of Wands and the King of Swords, Two of Wands. You're meant to keep going. Do not, I feel like you might have that habit of being like, hey, you might have K2 in Pisces or K2 in a water sign, K2 in Cancer. I'm also hearing where like you'll just be like, hey, you know what? This life is not working for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and ignore everybody and just keep to myself. I'm not even going to participate in life. But I do feel like there's a yearning for wanting to have social interactions. We have Aquarius represented here. We have Libra represented here. Aries, Sagittarius, Leo, Gemini, Capricorn, very, very strong. So if you're not a Capricorn, excuse me, I imagine that you have 10th house placements or have Capricorn energy in your chart. But I just feel like Spirit wants you to keep fighting. Do not give up. Don't give up on humanity, and don't give up on yourself. Also, some of you in a past life have certainly had habits with the Devil card to the Nine of Cups. This is a confirmation that some of you have definitely dealt with addictions in some point, or just overindulgence. But I really do think it's because the world was too heavy. And I want to say, in your past life, I don't even think that you had much money by the time you were dead, because I feel like you just gave up. You just gave up. You still didn't live. Like, yeah, I don't think that you killed yourself or anything like that, but like you gave up on the living part. And so Spirit is going to be giving you those same issues. You're surrounded by people who want to take from you. You're surrounded by particularly feminine energies that want to take from you, whether you're a masculine or feminine. You're surrounded by people who are not supportive of you. You're surrounded by people who make you feel bad, but you wanted to come to make it right. You wanted to come. Some of you might be a Libra rising, to balance that, to be like, I'm not going to compromise. I'm going to step in my masculine energy. I'm not just going to give up because I don't understand like what's going on, or because I feel misunderstood. Like, no, you're going to hear me roar. That Strength card, right? Didn't that come out soon? Like, you had that energy. And I feel like this kind of played out in your same lifetime. When you were younger, you were rambunctious. You said what you thought. You did what you wanted to do. Then life happened, and life happens. And then you learned to be more docile. And so then you kept it up. But then if life keeps spitting in your face, you need to get back in tune with that inner child. Exactly. You have to get back in tune with your inner child. For some of you, I feel like the way that this played out is like somewhere there was a disconnect from your mother in this lifetime too. It might not have been full on death, but it could have been like your mother was a certain way, something happened with her. She ended up turning into a different person. She started on her own journey, and you felt lost. Maybe that's even what happened in this lifetime. It could have been the same mother, but something happened. So let's say like, for real dramatic effects, okay, doesn't have to be, but in this past life, she was in a car accident. So one day your mother was fine, then she was in a terrible car accident, and she was now paralyzed from the neck down. And so she had changed pretty quickly overnight, and you had to adjust to it. So I imagine that could have happened in this life, particularly with the mother, could be with the father, but I'm really getting strong mother energies. And once that accident happened, or that shift happened, you changed right along with her. It was like a part of you had been hit in the accident along with her, you know? But I feel like this lifetime, Spirit is saying, look, you wanted to overcome that. You were faced with the same obstacles as before, and you're like, I don't want to move into this reclusive state. I don't want to die alone with like nothing. You know, it wasn't worth it. I wish that I would have put my foot down, and I would have stood up for myself, and I would have stood in a more masculine energy than to let life take me. So that's kind of the karmic lesson that you're learning, is to be fearless. You see what I'm saying? And to continue to reset that. But Spirit is certainly asking, whether you're the feminine or the masculine, to step into this masculine energy of learning how to say no, learning how to put up boundaries, so you don't have to just completely like shut out the rest of the world. Like, I feel like a lot of you would just be like, I would rather just disappear than to deal or confront with your issues head on. But I feel like that's very that's not why you came to this life. That's not what you wanted to do. That's not what you want to accomplish. We got Taurus energy here with the Hierophant. So let's see, what is your overall advice to overcome this karmic lesson? And again, with the Hierophant, the Taurus energy, it's like standing your ground, you know, staying in your place. The Queen of Swords, speaking your truth, being honest. It's one of those things where I just feel like your energy in the past and currently is to just throw the whole thing away. And that is not what you're supposed to do. The Death card. Yeah, you're meant to transform through it. Yes, things end. Yes, you're meant to rebuild, but you're not supposed to just throw the whole thing away. You're supposed to overcome. What is this? The Seven of Wands. So this is the Five of Wands. Sorry if I said that was the Seven of Wands earlier, but this was the Four of Wands. Oh my gosh. Sometimes this deck confuses me, but this is the Four of Wands. This is the Seven of Wands. Yeah. And the Knight of Pentacles. So what is your advice to overcome it? You know, and then here we go. We have the Five of Wands. So, oh goodness. And then at the bottom, we have the Seven of Swords. So Spirit is, how do you overcome this? First of all, you need to learn how to be strategic. there's a balance, there's a middle ground. So from that rambunctious young version of yourself from this past life, and I feel like this current life, you know, you were too honest, you were too open, you know, and so you learn how to curate this. Now, don't shut yourself off completely, but learn how to be strategic with the information that you give. Learn how to also be a great listener. I feel like Spirit wants you to truly learn how to listen in this lifetime, because I don't think that you listened very well. I think that you were very impulsive. Yeah, that, take it or leave it. No insult, no judgment. But I feel like you didn't listen. But when you learn how to listen, then you'll learn how to better navigate and overcome your obstacles. Spirit is saying that there's an element of patience that needs to be learned in this lifetime, especially when you face adversity. Again, you're just like, there's not I'm hearing that ludicrous song, Runaway Love, with Mary J. Blige. And that song's not funny at all. But I am hearing like, that you have a tendency or had a tendency to just run away, escape, live out in the woods, and just detach from the world. And I do feel like Spirit is like, listen, if you're patient and you just learn how to speak your truth, be honest, and set boundaries for yourself, then you won't have to negate the world. You feel like it's either or. Like, I felt like in a past life, your ultimate karma was you felt like it's either me, either I lose myself completely, or I have to lose the world. You couldn't do both. But I think if you're patient, then you'll find out that it's not as staunch as you think it is, right? With the Queen of Swords here, you have this divine discernment now. And so listening to your intuition, the Queen of Swords too, about people, you're not going to get played by people if you know that they're coming. Like, again, it's just, you have to listen. Wow, that's so funny. That is your advice to overcome this karma, is just listen to people and take note of people when they're saying things, because then you'll be able to pick up and be like, huh, because it'll be like triggers for this old past life. You'll be like, I remember when something was so good to be true last lifetime, ended up broke. Somebody ended up taking all my money and swindling me out of my shiz. So you're giving me energy that I cannot trust, you know? So I feel like that'll be a major thing. And just rise, you know, be patient with yourself as you rise. That is how you kind of overcome this karma. But Spirit does not want you to just throw the whole thing away is the biggest energy that I got. So let's pull some oracle cards, some overall oracle cards. Then we'll get you out of here, pal, too. So that was kind of like your past life karma. Let me know if this is resonating. If you feel that way now, you're like, I just want to disappear. Message in a bottle. So again, about communication, TikTok. So I feel like this doesn't necessarily have to do with this reading, but you're going to be receiving some sort of information pretty soon, very, very soon, that might change your circumstances. So I feel like this is another message for some of you. Time for a nap. Whatever it is that you've been manifesting for yourself, pile 2, I do think that it's working, and you're going to get a message about something moving forward. So remain flexible and open. So we got 15, 6 here, 3 here, and then 1 again. So this is about, again, balancing those energies. The six is about harmony and learning how to give and take, you know, and again, not cutting yourself off from the outside world, remaining flexible. I just feel like you were, you just gave up is strong, but it's like you were like, whatever, like, I don't want to be bothered in your last lifetime. And so Spirit is saying, like, some things you will have to learn how to compromise on. That's going to be a theme. But also remembering to take time for yourself, because you do need to recharge, but also remember to re-enter the world. So don't just move into like this super recluse mode, because I feel like that's very easy for you to do. You're one of the people who's like very comfortable in their own skin, very comfortable in their own time, don't need a whole bunch of people to entertain them. Perhaps you're an only child, or like, you know, or there's big age gaps and differences in you and, you know, everybody else. So this is just something to be aware of, because you do have money coming in. I do imagine that money's going to come in, and then of course you see the ugliness of people. So be prepared for that, because that's just some karma that you have going. Okay. that is what I got for you, pile 2. Again, please don't forget to let me know if this resonates. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check me out on YouTube. You're on YouTube. Check me out on TikTok and Instagram, guys. I've had so much fun over there. And book a personal reading with me if you'd like to dig more into it, or if you'd like to look into your Vedic chart where it really specifically goes into your past life. And we kind of look at some of your karmas on an individual level, you know, because this is general. But yeah, I am going to bring up the Cash App card. This is if you are called to and would like to and are able to donate, guys. I super appreciate it. $1, $5, even prayers means so much to me on my journey, right? And so this is for Cash App, $, capital A, capital B, lowercase EV224. Also, if PayPal is more up your speed, that is in the description box below. But I just want to say thank you so much for any of your donations that you made in the past. And I appreciate your support just on an energetic level regardless, guys. So thank you so much. And yeah, peace until, wait, let's see the 7 of Pentacles. Right, so the 7 of Pentacles bonus message. It's just about being patient and really allowing things that you plant to see grow, because you will be financially successful in this lifetime. That is guaranteed, pile 2. You know, I say guaranteed, but you will be financially successful, but then you're going to be faced with the do I go into hermit mode? So this karma is about to activate itself very quickly is what I'm hearing, pile 2. So be prepared. Okay. Alrighty, so now let's move into pile 3. Alrighty, hello everyone, this is AD with Kosmostrology, and I'm going to be doing your pick a card reading. So this is if you pick pile 3, the Hermetic Tarot, the black and white deck. We are going to be looking at your past life karmas. So before we even get into it, I do want to define karma. What is karma? This is not talking about, oh my gosh, you did this bad thing to somebody, so now this bad thing is going to happen to you. It's deeper than that. We're looking at lifetimes. We're looking at what is your soul's karma. What does your soul need to learn? What is your soul's lesson? And how do we judge that? So your soul is the same throughout every lifetime, right? It just has all these external experiences that help shape and mold it. So you're constantly being pulled in these different directions. And so that is what karma is looking at. So it's looking at, okay, I had this experience in the past. I love that experience. I want to redo it. I want to learn more. I want to improve. Or I had this experience in the past. I didn't feel like, you know, at the end of my life, I felt like I should have invested more time in XYZ. So that's what I'm going to invest my time and energy into in this next lifetime. That is your soul's contract in which you came to work with. So specifically, we're going to be breaking it down to your childhood, your adulthood, your overall karmic lesson, and then your overall advice to overcome this karma and looking at it, you know. So this is really your soul's purpose in a sense, pile 3, as to why your soul decided to reincarnate. So let's look into it. And see what we got. So the first card, wow, the 7 of Pentacles is so funny. So the same card came out in pile number 2. So you might want to look at pile number 2 also. There might be messages, but that's hilarious. The 7 of Pentacles is there. The chances of it, you know. So let's look into the actual card. So we're first going to be looking at your childhood. I want to look at your childhood, your adulthood, just to get an overall context of your life and then see what karma was produced out of that. I think it's all super important. And if you're new to this channel or you're new to this video, I do have a who was I in a past life. So you might want to check that out first and then kind of cross-reference it. This isn't so much looking at who you are. It's just looking at your soul's experiences, which is a little different. All right, so let's see. Pile 3's childhood. The Ace of Cups. All right. Sorry, I was like, I don't know. It wasn't making all this noise. Then all of a sudden it started making noise. The Hermit. The Death card. Oh my gosh. Whoo. Pile 3. Your childhood. My goodness. Oh my God. The 10 of Swords. Whew, this is crazy, but we have the 9 of Cups in the middle and then the Princess of Swords. So I will say that in your past life, your childhood does not seem like it was all that great. The 4 of Cups. The 5 of Wands. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You made it work though. The Queen of Swords. I was about to say, you're a very strong child. So let me tune into this. So I can say your past life in this life that's being tuned into, it was very hectic, chaotic. You spent a lot of time alone. You could have easily been orphaned. Death was something that surrounded you. Perhaps both of your parents passed away. your mother might have passed away, specifically through childbirth is what I'm kind of hearing. And so you were just kind of like thrust out into the world is what I'm hearing from this past life childhood. But with the 5 of Swords, 10 of Swords, the Death card, the Hermit, I'm just getting that you felt very unloved on a, sorry guys, like, sorry, that was bothering me. You felt very unloved. You felt probably pretty orphaned. But what you did love and what brought you solace was your imagination with the Queen of Swords here. Or just like your mind, your thoughts. You know, your mind was your best friend. So maybe you spend a lot of time in this life talking to yourself because your soul has developed, because they were forced to develop a really good, solid relationship with the logical mind. Because at times I feel like with this, it kind of feels like that's all they had. I certainly feel like there was a death of a feminine energy, and it kind of left you stuck in limbo. So it was just like, I don't really know what to do. Like, I don't feel like you had like a mother in a sense. I really would watch Pile 2. I think that there's a second message there because this is very much in the same frequency. But yeah, I just feel like overall, it might not have been the happiest of childhoods. Even though the 9 of Cups is here, I feel like you made it work. Oh wow, we have the 6 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So that's beautiful. But it would be like a childhood that you were just like, look, you know, that's how life happened. I took it as that. It was what it was. But you know, I didn't know that I was, quote, poor. I didn't know that my life was different from other people. At times I felt like unloved, but for the most part, you know, I made it work. I had my imagination. I had my imaginary friends. I explored my own realm. So I do feel like you came out on top. Like you made the most out of a pretty difficult childhood, I would say, especially with this energy here. But you were probably an only child. I don't know if you had any siblings or you lost a sibling. That could have been something too. But you spent a lot of time on your own and your other childhood, and you had to really find your own inner peace and navigation because the outside world, I feel, was pretty chaotic. There were constant changes, shifts. I feel like you might have been thrown, tossed around with the pages, with the Princess of Swords here to the 5 of Wands, 10 of Swords. But yeah, that you were a very loving energy who just happened to go through quite a lot of chaos and conflict. So that was your childhood. That might be similar in this lifetime or it might not, you know, but I feel like you would know how it resonates. But you definitely had a difficult childhood in a past life. So now let's look into your adulthood. The 8 of Pentacles, the 8 of Cups. I can't help but be drawn to, like, yeah, a lot of Piscean energy. So I feel like you were probably very creative. But again, with this Saturn and Leo in the car and the energies here, excuse me, and these energies represented here, I just feel like you had a lot of tough lessons to learn. The 4 of Swords, but you overcame it. I really do feel like you overcame a lot, but a lot of Piscean energy here. Whew, the 9 of Swords. So your adulthood, the Last Judgment, the 2 of Wands, the 3 of Cups. What's this? Oh, the Chariot, and one last card. For, okay, we got 2. The 8 of Wands and the Ace of Swords. Whoo, wow. So by the time you got to adulthood, all right, so we looked at childhood, not that great. You made it work, but it wasn't that great. But I do feel like you might have curated some sort of talent that caused you to leave. So wherever it was that you grew up, by the time you were old enough to leave, you left and you went straight to work. The 8 of Pentacles, 8 of Cups, you definitely went straight to work. I do imagine that yeah, watch Pile 2, please. But I do imagine that there was, like, with the 9 of Swords, the 3 of Cups, you always had to wrestle with acceptance. I feel like because of the childhood that you had, one of the traumas that you've developed and one of your soul traumas that you've developed is just not really feeling like you fit into certain situations and groups. I feel like that's something that follows you regardless of how your childhood was in this lifetime. You really feel uncomfortable around a whole bunch of people just because you were so used to being alone. You spent a lot of time alone in this childhood. And so I do imagine that you were able to escape into work, but your mind cleared a path for you to kind of explore different things with this Last Judgment. I do think that you were very much a very philosophical type of individual. By the time you had your adulthood, you carried a lot of wisdom, and it was because you had such a crappy childhood, but like you made the best out of it. You know, the Ace of Cups and the Nine of Cups, you managed to really figure out how to love yourself. And maybe there were other people in your childhood, even though your family dynamic might have been a mess. I feel like there were other mentors, and so maybe you're really close to your teachers and mentors in this lifetime that were able to really help you through, you know, through any traumas that you've had in that past lives. But in this life, you might have been really close to teachers, professors, that type. But you just learned how to love. You learned how to love yourself and your circumstances. I imagine that by the time you were an adult, you spent a lot of time alone. You spent a lot of time traveling. You spent energy here, there, everywhere. Mars and Aries. So you were constantly just on the move. You had no problem with like leaving things behind. I feel like also with that Seven of Pentacles being the card that you chose, I just feel like you never really fully invested in anything. Maybe that's why you come. So we're going to look into your karmas, of course, but I feel like you didn't invest in anything because you were constantly on the go, on the move, just moving through life. Wow, the Star card here at the bottom of the deck. So I am imagining that like you really could have been famous, right? Or you could have garnered a lot of attention, especially with this Eight of Swords to the Ace of Wands. There was something about your voice. So you could have been a singer, a talent, or just a philosopher, or somebody thought-provoking, I imagine. But I do imagine that you spent a lot of time traveling. You were pretty popular by the time it was all said and done, but I would not be surprised if you were famous or if you felt fame from this adulthood. You really made a name for yourself with the Last Judgment. So you transformed that energy. It took time with this Saturn and Taurus energy here. It really did take time, but I do think that you built with the Eight of Pentacles, Sun and Virgo energy here. You really built a solid foundation for yourself. So yeah, so let's see. What is your overall karma? The Knight of Pentacles. So we got Leo and Virgo here. Oof, the Three of Swords. Saturn and Libra. The Empress. Beautiful. I really just feel like it really takes you a long time, pile 3, regardless. It takes you a long time to love yourself. I know that sounds really specific, but it takes a long time for you to understand your Empress energy. That is kind of the karma you racked up just in the same life. And this always like follows you where like you end up having these these childhoods, regardless if it was this dramatic or not, you feel very unloved or just kind of on the outskirts of everything looking in. And then it takes time for you to develop loving yourself and embracing this Empress energy, regardless if you're a male or female. I just imagine that like it really, once you step into your divine feminine energy, you're golden, but it takes you a really long time to get there. You're somebody who, and I say this about myself all the time. I'm like, I came into the world brokenhearted. I just imagine that you feel that way. You always feel like a disconnect from things. The Four of Wands to the Ten of Cups. But you end up stabilizing. Like that's the funny part. Like it takes you a little bit, not longer, but you're one of those people who, I feel like wow, the universe at the bottom of the deck here. I was like, I feel like you're one of those people who people might tell you you're confident all the time. And you're like, I do not feel confident at all. But then when you do become confident, then you're the most confident person to grace this planet. You know, it's really no in between with you. Wow. We have the Hangman coming up here. Look, the Hangman right under the Empress. Some more cards came out. So I'm just going to go ahead and move these up. Yeah, we got the Fortitude here. Look at all the strength. The Queen of Wands. Oh my gosh. The High Priestess. The Knight of Wands to the Three of Wands. Woo! So the karma that you've kind of racked up is, like I said, it takes you a minute to really realize who you are and the feminine energy that you possess. But once you find that out, look at this, the High Priestess, and again, this Piscean energy. So maybe you have K2 in Pisces or something like that, or K2 in a water sign, Rahu in an earth sign. So if you have K2 Pisces and your Rahu would be in Virgo, that's true for me, but it just seems like you have to sit on this energy. And once you kind of unlock this hidden wisdom within yourself, you become unstoppable. You were like an unstoppable force. And so, but you always have to overcome this heartbreak. You always have to overcome rejection. You always have to overcome not feeling enough. And I think it's because you help other people step into this light. So I feel like, yeah, by the time it's all said and done and you close your eyes, you're fine. You've established yourself. Like I said, even in this past lifetime, you built yourself up from scratch and you made something of yourself. And so in this lifetime, you're doing that again. You know, if you pick pile 3 in your last one, and the who was I, then it was done in the masculine sense, right? Now in this lifetime, it's probably being done in the feminine sense. And it doesn't matter about your genders, you know. But I just feel like you really had to overcome a lot of obstacles. And I want to say that your karma for this lifetime, I feel, is pretty good, you know. You might not realize it, but I feel like you've racked up some really great karma as far as the other piles. And of course, you can still watch pile 2. The other piles still had very like choices to make, if that makes sense, kind of determining their karma. For you, I feel like your choice is very much, once you tune into yourself and believe in yourself, then that's pretty much all you got to do. Once you believe in yourself and you believe that despite the feelings of lack and the kind of that orphan feeling that you had as a young child, once you embrace your confidence, then the world just freaking opens up to you and you become like this pillar of strength. Look at all this fire energy. I mean, Aries, hello. Leo, hello. Sagittarius, hello. Please remember, I do subscribe to Vedic, so the placements might be a little different. But I do imagine like a lot of Libra energy. So you end up receiving a lot of luxury, because I feel like in your past life, right, you came from real shitty circumstances. Like, I'm sorry to put it that way. You really had a very difficult childhood. But even you kept that childlike innocence about you. And I feel like you remained, quote unquote, as good, right? Whatever that means. But you definitely lived by the golden rule in a past life of like, treat others how you want to be treated, despite my circumstances, which again got you to starhood. So I feel like you've always come with that. That's just who your soul is like, treat others how you want to be treated and the rest works out. But in the meantime of you treating others how you want to be treated, I feel like you negate to see how you should be treated in your lifetime. So your karma is always just about learning how to love yourself, really having to take time to embrace your femininity, really having to take time to embrace who you are and your own strengths and not bow down or back down. Again, I'm really getting energy from like the goddess Kali. I would look her up if you don't know who that is. Kali, Kali. She's a Vedic god, Bharani moon, if that resonates with you, Nasaktra wise. But you're very strong. You're very strong. That is your overall karmic lesson, is to just remain strong and to go after what you want. Like, you're just meant to be a fiery feminine. You're really not meant to be tamed or conquered. I feel like, yeah, I don't know why that's coming in now, but you're not somebody who can be tamed. You're not meant to be tamed. Yeah, the 5 of Swords. So what is the overall advice to kind of tune into this energy, I guess, to overcome it? The Justice card. Yeah, what did I say? That Libra energy. I just feel like, let me see, the Queen of Cups. That's so funny. The Sun card. Okay. The sun, the moon, the star. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And the Ace of Pentacles to the 3 of Pentacles. So, okay. So this advice is giving me, so I'm going to go backwards a little bit. So your overall karmic lesson, right? You learned how to be fierce, okay? You are so fierce. Your soul is so strong. Pile number 3. Listen, there's really not much that can phase you. You are such a strong personality, such a strong person. This karmic, for this lifetime, it really is to step kind of out of that strength and really allow people to kind of help you. Right? So this is telling you to receive that Libra, Venus, Saturn, and Venus. So I feel like a lot of you have come in with karmic lessons. We got this yin yang energy. I know this happens to my pile 3s all the freaking time. But we got this yin yang energy, Venus and Saturn. So a lot of your relationships could deal with love, because of your past life and because you've had to like really just work for everything that you have. I feel pretty much by yourself in your past lives. You're so used to doing that. But this lifetime, I do think that you're going to meet people. 7th house. You have a very active 7th house, where people are going to be able to help you do this whole life thing where you're not carrying all this luggage by yourself, because once you realize how strong you are, then you can get into that mode. So here's your choice, right? So now we're in the choice part. So you can get so strong and so fierce and so my way or the highway. I feel like this lifetime you're having a choice to kind of open up yourself, especially with the sun and moon card. This is divine masculine, divine feminine energy. And again, like I said, if you've watched the previous and you were pile 3 before, you were most likely a masculine in your past life. And if you've come back as a feminine, well, then now you need to be feminine. You know, you came as a woman to learn how to receive. So what point does it make for you to still be a man in a woman's body? You'll be back. You'll be back with more karma to not do that. So that's something to consider. But at the same time, you're learning how to balance, right? This Queen of Cups, again, this Pisces, Cancer energy, Gemini represented here. But you just have this energy where you really have to, you need to balance the more feminine essence and desires of you. That's where you really shine. Even though you are strong, there's some wish fulfillment here for like this yin yang energy. You definitely are one piece to a bigger puzzle, but you'll never get to that bigger puzzle. You'll never solve those karmic lessons, those love lessons in particular. I'm kind of getting, guys, because I feel like once you step into your energy and you step into that Queen of Wands, the Empress, you're unstoppable. It's just a matter of like partnering up with people. And this is even bigger than love. You know, this is actually work too, with the Ace of Pentacles to the Three of Pentacles. You got the Star, the Sun, the Queen of Cups card. You're really meant to shine and kind of explore, like, the more creative that you are, the more expressive that you are, the more dramatic that you are. Leo energy here, Aquarius energy here. So maybe you even have that K2 and Leo, Rahu and Aquarius, or vice versa. But you're really meant to shine. You're meant to be admired. I feel like a lot of the stuff in your past life happened, not necessarily in the shadows, because I feel like you were a star in your past life, but there was still that love. I don't know if you ever really got that love. What's that Whitney Houston quote? It was just like, you know, it was like she was looking for love and she got fame instead. This lifetime, I feel like you might be able to get both if you want to. You'll be able to get love and fame, you know, but it's up to you to not stay so strong in all this fire energy. I mean, at some points, you're going to have to compromise. That is how you overcome some of this loneliness that you feel all the time. You're going to have to compromise. But I do understand that it comes from a fear. It does come from a fear of rejection, because that happens so early in your past life, be it from your mother or whatever. But this is just kind of the energies that you are still carrying. But once you love yourself, great, awesome, do what you got to do, you know, own it. And then you're going to need to open yourself up to collaboration. You shine so bright on your own, but Spirit really wants you to also shine with other people. You're not meant to do this lifetime alone, Pile 3. Wow, that's so powerful. You're really not meant to do this lifetime alone. You're meant to have friends. You're meant to have other people that are able to help you. You did it alone in your past life, most likely as a man. You did it already. So this life, you're meant to receive. You're meant to sit in that yin energy for sure. This temperance. So Sagittarius energy represented, also Virgo energy. I'm at Scorpio represented here too. So this temperance, it's the balancing and the devil. I feel like with this energy, Spirit is saying, you know, always be careful to not overindulge, you know, always, the Five of Cups, particularly when you're sad. So that's for somebody out there. Make sure that you're being responsible, you know, with your partying. But yeah, I really just imagine that you're supposed to balance. You're supposed to bring a lot of things together. You're supposed to bring, oh my gosh, and it's so funny. Wow, this is hilarious. So the Temperance card is actually usually, and I'm using this term, I don't know if this term is okay, but I'm just using what's in the book. This was a hermaphrodite. And so it's a both man and feminine. The angel is, it doesn't have a gender. The OG transgender, right? And so, it doesn't have a gender non-binary. And so that's why I do think that you're bringing in your masculine and your feminine parts into this lifetime. That's how you overcome this karma, because you've done the real masculine thing. You're really great at being on your own and doing your own thing. You figure that out in a male or woman's form. So now it's time for you to learn to bring in the softer side of you and really learn how to sit in love. And there you will really, really shine. You will really shine. And you're also meant to be a leader. So if you're doing anything, pile 3, where you're not a leader and you're not shining and you're in the shadows somewhere, that's not what you're supposed to be doing, point blank period. You're supposed to be doing something else. So do something else. I know it's not that simple, but like it's that simple, right? And again, it goes, and if you disagree with me or that made you tug, it's because you haven't fully stepped into this Empress energy quite yet. But again, be careful not to overindulge and feel like you don't have any choices, because you do. You'll feel very trapped if you don't. Like I said, you can't be tamed, so you'll feel very trapped if you feel tamed and locked up. All right, so let's look into your oracle. So that's really what I'm getting. That was pretty interesting, pile 3. I hope that that resonated. Let me know if this is still kind of showing up in your life. But yeah, really to sum it up, you're absolutely meant to shine and overcome obstacles, but you're meant to step into a more feminine energy and a softer energy at times. Come to the edge. And I'm hearing like trust. I really do think that you're meant to trust this lifetime. You don't trust. You have deep trust issues, pile 3. You don't trust nobody for shiz. Like, and is this orphan? I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. That card came out in the first pile too. But I knew it that this was going to come out, because I really feel like even if this lifetime, even if you have both of your parents or whatever, there's something inside of you that you don't trust. You don't trust the energy that's around you. I'm also hearing that Spirit is telling you to put in work with that chopped wood. 4, 2, 6. There needs to be some balance. 9. And yes, you're in this phase where you're doing this alone. And this card came out in pile 2 also. So you got 6 again. You're in this phase where you're doing this alone. But keep building yourself up. The thing about it is, when you work for yourself and you work on yourself and you step into this Empress energy and that Queen of Wands energy that we saw earlier, then it opens you up to receive these messages of all these people that are going to come help, so you don't feel orphaned. You see them? So it's like this, it's this roundabout circle that you kind of got to go through, pile 3. But I really do feel like, oh my gosh, these 2 cards came out. So you might want to watch pile 1 too. So you might want to watch all of them. I don't know. You probably lived a lot of lifetimes, pile 3, for sure. I know if you picked pile 3 before, then you've certainly lived a lot of lifetimes. So all of them might affect you. But regardless, you're about to close out this cycle. You're about to receive some life-changing information. Or maybe this was pile 2. I'm sorry, guys. I know it doesn't even matter to you. Like, man, it just But yeah, there's a second message for you in pile 2. But regardless, brain, let it go. Regardless, I do feel like you're in the midst of closing up this chapter. So some of you feel like maybe you've been working on this top part right here of overcoming this karma, and you're feeling this Empress. But now you're going to start reaching into this soul tribe bag. You know, you're meant to really be a part of a community and love. You're not supposed to be feeling orphaned, but there's still some work that you got to do on your end, and just keep at it. But expect a message really soon. You're not going to feel orphaned. And then at the bottom of the deck, beautiful, we have loyal heart again. There's a yin yang energy. I'm happy that Spirit did not go too deeply into the yin yang, but just know, and I think that you know this, pile 3, there's another half of this journey, because in order for you to really learn how to be a feminine, you have to deal with a real masculine. So that is certainly coming in. But there's also friendships that are coming in for you too. So that is something to be aware of. But yeah, pile 3, I do feel like, you know, just open yourself up. It doesn't have to be, you're not out here. You're not out here by yourself. You've earned really quote unquote good karma for yourself in your past lifetimes, because I feel like you just handled shitty situations very gracefully. And so that's super wonderful for you. So this is supposed to be a really cool lifetime where you get to be in love and you get to, you know, invest in different people. Yeah, so we have this 7 of Pentacles. And it says the Lord of unfulfilled success, but I feel like you get to fulfill the success that you left out. So really interesting life energy. So that's what I got for you, pile 3. Thank you so much for joining me again. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram. I have fun over there. And if you'd like to book a personal reading with me, then that information is in the description box below. If you really like to dig into your own personal Vedic chart so we can really look at your past life karmas and what energies you're working with in this lifetime, I would be more than happy to do that. You can also shoot me an email for that. And Yes, of course, I am bringing out my Cash App card, guys. So this is if you are in a space to and are able to and would like to donate $1, $5, or even a prayer. I appreciate it. This is for Cash App. So we got $ capital A, capital B, lowercase EV224. And then I also have my PayPal in the description box below. Thank you so much if you have been able to donate. Thank you so much. Even if you're just sending a girl a prayer, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. But thank you, Pile 3. Peace. Until next time.